Hey, what's going on? This is your stimulus check updated information. So right now you have Congress, they are trying to get this debt ceiling raised. I think they did raise it up by $480 billion. So that allows the government to spend more money. They want to come in there with this $3.5 trillion budget plan. Plus there's a $1.9 trillion plan that's going to be infrastructure, jobs, all of that right now. They're just going to be spending, printing, creating all this wealth, trying to send this out to everybody. The $3.5 trillion budget plan could possibly be a fourth stimulus check. It's going to probably extend out a lot of the stimulus programs that are happening right now. You have the child tax credit every month. On the 15th, people are getting there's tax credit checks. Those are going out every month. Plus, everybody on Social Security, they're getting their checks. Now, one of the things with Social Security right now is the inflation is rising so high right now. They're talking about getting a $1,400 stimulus check out to those that do qualify for that. There is a league, it's like the Social Security League, Citizens League. They're trying to get $1,400 payments out because of the way inflation is happening. Now with SSI, Social Security, looks like those prices are going to be raising up. So everybody that is on that will be getting those payments. A fourth stimulus check is trying to get into this new budget plan. This is where I think direct payments will happen. Also, there is a support act in the House of Representatives. AOC, a lot of progressives, they have their programs that they're trying to get passed. The support act is going to get hopefully $1,200 payments to everybody. So that's something they're trying to push through there. If Nancy Pelosi can get it snuck into this giant budget plan, then it's possibly forced checks go out to everybody. But we're going to have to see. A lot of times she says, hey, we got to pass it to see what's in it, which is crazy to me. I mean, I can't believe they have to pass a bill to see what is exactly in it. But right now, it looks like the federal government is going to be spending so much money on getting more wealth out, I guess, trying to spend more money on getting more checks out to everybody, but they're going to have to borrow all this money. They're going to have to tax everybody. And they're also talking about going in there and starting to get into bank accounts and seeing payments over $600, all of this stuff. It seems to me that the government is trying to get in way too much with people's privacies right now. So we're going to see if they get into bank accounts and try to see what's happening. It's like anything over $600 is going to be sent to the IRS as far as transactions. I think it's going to be a lot of work, and I don't think it's going to really work for them. I think it's going to be put out too much pressure onto the federal government. I think they're just growing their budget too big right now, and they're going to have to somehow cut back on programs to kind of help them move forward. So the $1,400 stimulus checks, it says on October 7th, the Senior Citizens League, a nonprofit organization, wrote a letter to Congress urging members to send $1,400 stimulus checks to those receiving Social Security benefits. The reason why they're doing that is because of the way inflation is rising so much right now. Inflation is going up like 10 or 11%. It's so big. It's so, prices are rising everywhere. They're trying to get these payments up, trying to get one-time payments out to everybody. I think everybody is looking for some type of stimulus. Child tax credit, there's 40 million people that are getting those payments every month. Some of the states are actually sending out checks. If you do live in California, there is a $600 check that's going out to everybody, plus $500 to dependents. Places like Florida sending out checks, $1,000 checks to teachers, also $1,000 checks to EMT, also firefighters, police, all of them are getting a stimulus check. So look for those in your area. And then you have Tennessee, Michigan, Colorado, I think Maryland, and then Georgia. All these states are sending out checks to teachers. I think the teachers unions are very, very big in those states, and that's why you see a lot some of those governors sending out checks to teachers. Now, every state received billions of dollars. So whatever state you're in, they have money that's there sent from the federal government to give out to stimulus relief. Now, every state has different programs. Arizona right now is actually incentivizing people to go back to work. So if you get a full-time job, I believe they're giving out $2,000 payments. Not really sure how it works in Arizona, but that's one of the states. I know Connecticut is doing the same thing. If you go back to work as a full-time, you're going to be getting a check there. I don't know if it's $2,000 or $1,000. They're giving incentives to get people back to work in that state. So, I mean, it's good news for California. If you do live in California, it's $600 payments. It's making less than $75,000 a year. It's the Golden State stimulus check. You do have to live in California, and you have to file your returns with the Treasury. You have to, with the Treasury Secretary there. New Mexico, $750 direct payments are going out to everybody. And then you have places like Tennessee, they're sending checks to teachers. Florida's sending out checks to teachers, frontline workers, police, EMT, and then some of the other states. Texas is another big state that hasn't come out with a specific stimulus checks, but what they're doing is that each city has their own type of stimulus that they're sending out. I know one of the cities, Irvine, is sending out $2,000 payments to get staff to return to the classroom this year. So there is a big push for teachers. I know there's a lot of other people that should be qualified for this. But moving forward, if they can get this new budget plan, possibly a forced stimulus check in there, I think they're going to have to sneak it in there. I personally think that Nancy Pelosi is going to have to sneak these programs in because the Republicans never like to support these stimulus programs. Now, the Republicans, they have their own things that they love to spend money on, so don't think that they're just not the spenders, because when they have enough votes in the House and the Senate, then they're going to push their big bills and programs through. So right now, people think, well, it's Democrats that spend a lot, or the Republicans. They're both on the same side. They're both in government, and they love to spend money. They love to tax people. They love to spend more money. Now, I think it's going to get to the point where, Biden right now is talking about taxing the wealthy and all that, and that sounds good, and it looks good on paper. But if they taxed all the millionaires and billionaires at 100%, giving them just take all their money, they would not support government for the next. They wouldn't be able to support the government past 8 months. That just shows you the amount of money that the government is actually trying to borrow and spend. And what the government probably needs to do is have a budget, just like everybody else does, like have a budget in a local city. The local city takes in the money, they get to spend whatever they bring in through sales taxes or property taxes, things like that. That's how the federal government should be doing it. They don't have a blank check. But you see the debt ceiling right now. They're trying to raise the debt ceiling up. They raised it up by another $480 billion. It looks like they're going to have to raise the debt ceiling up by another $5 trillion because of the fact that they're adding this bigger bill on there. Already the federal government's in debt for $28 trillion. It's a huge amount. So right now the purchasing power of the dollar is declining. It's going down. That's why you see prices rising all the time. So I try to encourage people, if you can, pick up some gold and silver, pick up some cryptos if you can. Try to get it out of the dollar, put it into whatever real estate. Just get it into something that holds value. Real estate holds value. Gold and silver holds value. Cryptos, those are going to hold value. Just make sure you get in the right ones. I like Bitcoin. It's just because it's the most decentralized. But you gotta kind of do your own homework with that. But do get it out of the currencies, just because the fact that inflation is rising so bad right now, and I don't see an end to it. The only way they're going to end that is by the federal government, their Federal Reserve coming in, raising interest rates, trying to get the inflation in check, because all inflation is just them printing money and getting it out into the economy. That's all it is. If they can stop printing the money and just allow the economy to kind of heal itself, then it would be good. But the Treasury comes in, or the federal government comes in and buys up all these Treasury notes all the time. They're just coming in and just buying up every month. I think it's $120 billion they're buying in Treasury notes every month. It's too much, and they should chill out on it. So that's why I encourage people to try to do that. Now, you got to do your own homework on that. So I want to make sure that this isn't financial advice. It's just what I like to do. I like to get it out of the U.S. dollar, because I think the U.S. dollar now is, the value of it is just declining. Now, moving forward, if you do get some checks, I do encourage you to try to invest those. Somebody that invested their $1,200 check back in 2020 of March, that value, if they put it into, say, Bitcoin, it would be now up to $8,000. It's like $8,000. It's almost up to $9,000 if they would invest that $1,200. So that would have been a very good investment. And then you can still do that moving forward. You can buy a percentage of it. Same thing with gold. I think if you would have bought it back then, I don't think gold is up as much but it still would have held the value of it. You would have held the value of your purchasing power in gold, and that's always good news. So make sure you try to do that. Look for these checks in your states. Look for these checks in the future. If they can get this bill passed in the next couple of weeks, then more money will start to go out to those that need it, those that do qualify for it. And also the checks on the 15th are coming out. I think you still have till the 15th to file your returns. You can file your returns on the Treasury website. There's a free website tool. You can file your returns, and then you can go and get those payments sent out to you.